Heyo, folks, this is Andrew Whipple, and I'm here with...
Aaron Horberto Flores.
Alright, that's a complete lie. It's actually Javier. Aaron's dead.
Oh, yeah, I'm his cousin. I sound just like him. Got his face.
So this is Bloodborne. This is going to be a review. If you're unfamiliar with our format, since we just came out, I'm pretty sure everyone will be. We are going to be taking you through certain parts of the game. We're going to be staying spoiler-free as much as we can. If you don't want to know anything about the game, I suggest you turn away now. But we're going to be talking about Bloodborne in depth, what we like, what we hate, things like that, aren't we, Aaron?
Indeed, and I've got a lot to say about Bloodborne. So, just as a precursor, I've already finished this game myself.
Mm-hmm. As have I.
It took me about 40 hours, I want to say, to finish it.
Mm-hmm. I've done a bunch of extra things. I'd say I did some more extra things than you did in about 50 hours.
50 hours?
Yeah, just right around there, I think.
Yeah, I definitely kind of plowed through it. I didn't play around with the Chalice Dungeons until I reached New Game Plus.
Right, and I'm just on New Game Plus 1 as well. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, spoiler alerts. We like it.
Bloodborne is a Dark Souls. It's just a Souls game. How about that?
Yeah, it was definitely made by FromSoftware, such as their other hits, such as 3D Dot Heroes and Ninja Blade.
Ninja Blade.
Now, I'm going low right now.
The Armored Core series. Yeah, that's just how it goes. So, Bloodborne. This game is pretty cool. I like the way that the characters look, the way everything flows, cloth physics. Am I right?
Yeah, it kind of blurs up a little too much, probably just to hide the fact that the frame rate's a little on the low side. I want to say it's about 30, probably dips down to maybe 24. I don't have exact numbers, but it definitely chugs in some spot, but nowhere as bad as its predecessors.
So, one thing that I want to just take you guys through before we get into some of the action, the transforming weapons. It's a huge part of this game. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It just represents a different way to attack, and there's transformation attacks as well, such as this. Or, one of my favorites, of course, is the stake driver. You could do a charge-up attack, and ba-bam! Yeah, that is pretty badass. I love the weapons in this game. I could show you some weird ones.
And one thing worth noting as well is that there's no shields in this game. It's a lot more aggressive and a dynamic of a game than previous Souls games or anything that FromSoftware has published or created in the past couple of years.
Like there's a freaking wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this thing, but you can transform it and it turns into this. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know how splitting a big wheel into two skinnier wheels does more damage, but that's not my place to say.
Nope. And of course, this is the infamous Kirk hammer. Pretty cool. I think it's a neat weapon. A little bit too slow for my liking, and I'll just show a couple more. Blade of Mercy is kind of neat, but I just didn't find much of a use for it. This is the Tonitrus, which is just a mace, but its big transformation is electricity.
And I really like unique weapons like the Tonitrus because it's not traditional. It doesn't have two forms. You could just buff it infinitely with electricity. There is a downside to it that its repair bill is incredibly high and incredibly frequent. But there's a lot of really cool balancing things in this game. And there's just a ton of weapons in this game. And each weapon has its own little secondary ability. It's not always a transformation. There's the Ludwig's Holy Blade. That's what I use for the most part.
Yeah, it's his weapon of choice.
But
this is kind of cool, too.
A lot of people used it.
Yeah, you just put a frickin' gun on this rapier, and you could just fire from it. Just kind of cool. But we'll stop showing off that stuff. For creativity, this game is fantastic. It doesn't get much better than this. Now, something else that's a little bit different, all of the armor and things like that are gone. There's no rings, there's no accessories like that from Dark Souls. The rest of it's still here. You've got your item bars, but encumbrance, things like that, you don't have to worry about it. And I think it's a good change.
Yeah, myself, I kind of get really turned off whenever there's an encumbrance stat. Like, you just stop dead in your tracks because you picked up too much stuff. That was definitely present in Demon Souls. Maybe Dark Souls. My memory doesn't serve me too good when it comes to those.
Yeah, it is the same way.
But totally not present here, and I actually like that.
Yep, the controls are exactly the same. It is
For the most part.
For the most part. So instead of parrying, you actually, I'm going to try and do this here with the crowd, like an idiot.
Yeah, it's replaced with the new visceral attacks mechanic. So what Whipple's going to try to do here is counter this guy.
Which we're not going to mess with.
Let's try that again, or not.
As you can see, I have to whittle this crowd down. It's too much. All right, here we go. So when you get hit, if I counter this guy, he'll just die straight up. Here we go.
So the guy with the shield's an easy target.
Let's see here. Not the best, but we'll see. He's probably just going to sit here for a while.
Look at that AI.
Come on.
When you're not aggressive, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
There's a guy down to the left over there.
You're right. I totally forgot about this.
Go pick a fight with him.
Yeah, there's still things. People will troll you. It's actually kind of cool. It's like the original Demon Souls, well, the original Souls game. If somebody likes what you have to say, then they can upgrade it by voting it up. Actually, I'll show you right here. So if I like it, which I'm just going to say it's foul,
Even
you go
though
ahead
he's
and you do that.
He's giving good advice.
Right.
Foul.
But if it is good advice and you like it, it'll give that person full health, no matter where they are. It's like, this guy's probably going to hurt a little bit. Yeah.
Ooh, a little bit,
A little bit, yeah. Let's see what happens.
So you kind of got to time it
There
right.
we go.
Right around the startup of the animation, right before they swing it.
That's a visceral attack.
Most of the time it's when they're winding their arm back.
Mm-hmm. For the most part. There's some tricky ones. Kind of sometimes feels a little glitchy, but it's just specific in a different kind of way.
Yeah, and I didn't really use a lot of it.
But
the very few times that I did, it's really satisfying when you do it. So what Whipple just did here is he opened up a shortcut. So it's the navigation of the game that makes this really cool, because you can go somewhere and there's really no checkpoints, but you can open up a shortcut and it sort of serves as a checkpoint itself. So you can go back, it opens the area up, everything is one big world, much like Dark Souls, and towards the end, traversing the world becomes incredibly easy, and you have like this knowledge of the world that just, it's really well designed.
it is.
That was a good dodge.
Thank you, sir. So you play through a game like this, and you just remember certain things. I'm actually going to show you another like little shortcut. This is the very beginning of the game. I really hate spoiling the exploration part of these games. Oh boy. And that's because, really, that's the whole reason you play these games.
I'll slightly disagree with you on that matter, because going through the game is figuring it out for yourself. Seeing somebody else take it on, and everyone kind of has a different way of taking things on. The way you approach something is different than the way I approach something, and I don't feel like it really spoils a lot, but I can see your point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just navigating around, messing with things, fighting dudes. I'm actually going to just run past this part. All these guys are going to congregate here. I would not recommend this. It is New Game Plus, so they would do a ton of damage to me. But I've got the skills that evade other kills. Yeah.
So one thing about this game is running like a coward gets you pretty far in this game.
Oh, it certainly does.
Like, there were a couple of times where I was banging my head against something, and I'm just like, I can't figure it out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to run. Screw it. And got me pretty far.
And what you just saw right there, so that's the life leech. We didn't actually get into this at all. When you get hit, matter of fact, right up here is another good section where I can showcase it. Here we go. These ogres are some of the guys I was talking about, where they can be kind of finicky when it comes to countering. Like right there was a good one. So if he hit me, my life would have gone down, obviously, but I would have gotten all my health back if I hit him right away, because that visceral attack killed him outright, and it'll restore my health. So it's just some life leech right away. It's an interesting mechanic, because it makes you want to go and be more aggressive, which typically it just does not happen in games like this.
Yeah, this game is surprisingly lenient. Between the ability to get your life back and moving and being able to use a potion, holding 20 potions, this game is incredibly lenient, but still also equally challenging. It doesn't take away or detract from the reward and the challenge of the game. at any point.
I hate those dogs.
Yeah, it's very there's a couple of finicky hitboxes in the game. The dogs in particular are a decent example of that. There's some enemies later on that it gets really hard to target them, and it just kind of sucks when you feel like you should have hit something and you didn't. And I had that happen a couple of times, but it happened so far and few between that I can't really dock the game any points for that.
Right. So let's go up top here.
Alright, so this is an interesting spot here. This is like the first rite of passage in this game.
So those things, if something looks menacing, it's because it is.
Yeah.
That's just how stuff usually works. And these kind of creatures, you can't counter them because they don't have any weapons. Like Aaron had told me before, it's good advice. If somebody has a weapon and they're swinging it at you, you can counter them. The frames might be minuscule, but you can do it. So let's go ahead and
so
lure
we
one
won't
of
really
these guys
talk much
over.
about it, but there's one boss in particular that you could dodge him, but the time frame was so small. There you go. So, as with previous Souls games, this is all about how you break down the combat. It's not about being stronger, it's about being smarter, and I absolutely love that about these series. There you go. You had a full whiff right there. How do you feel?
I feel pretty great.
Well, you won anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I did. All right. So let's show where one of these special shortcuts are. And I'm going to cut it off right here for just the story content. We're going to get into other semantics and things that you're going to want to play. Whoa, goodness, yeah.
Good.
That you're going to want to play this game for towards the end of it. What I'm talking about is the Chalice dungeons. Those things are pretty important. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a couple areas that are really
goodness.
dark. You do need a torch. It gives you one for a reason. But there's not a lot of segments like this. Again, very few and far between.
Do you remember the Tomb of the Giants in Dark Souls?
Oh, Lord, yes.
All right, let's go.
The cool thing about that area, just to get off of Bloodborne for a second, was that the path was lit with messages, and I I rated every single one that I saw when I was doing that portion.
All right. So here's a good example of how this is still a Souls-ass soul game.
One thing I do like about this game is that if the enemy's holding a gun, they will always drop bullets, and I really like that. Because it just makes sense, because, you know, you'll see the memes on the internet. Oh yeah, enemy has gun, doesn't drop bullets.
Yeah.
That does not hold true for Bloodborne. And that's pretty cool.
It really doesn't. It doesn't at all. And I actually kind of like this system, but at the same time, I miss the Estus flasks just because you will run into a part of the game that's just ridiculously hard for you. You might not know where to go, and you just keep ramming against it just constantly. And then you're going to run out of blood vials. You're going to have to go and farm some or just get some souls. It's usually not that big of a deal. Just like Aaron said, static enemies will always drop that stuff. But still, I think that the Estus flask system is a little tighter.
Yeah, I would have definitely taken like 10 blood vials maybe and infinite, as opposed to having 20 and being able to stock up on them.
Oh, sure. So we'll show you a little bit of the customization right here. Really love this system. It's super streamlined. You still have to repair your weapons, but you've got blood gems now. I love this system, Aaron. I think it's fantastic. You just go into whatever weapon you want, and they do various things. As you upgrade them, you gain more slots. Just think of it kind of like slotted weapons in Diablo.
Yeah, and you're able to just take what you're using and boost it as much as possible, do insane amounts of damage, and a lot of them you can cater it to your to your play style. So if you like using a lot of visceral attacks, you can have plus to visceral attacks, and there's also the Carol runes over there.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about right here too. So right now, I'm actually trying to catch Aaron because he's level 124, I think, and I'm just about 90, like pretty close to that. So I just have 3 of these moon runes on. So whenever I kill something, it gives me a significant amount of souls. I'm sorry, blood echoes, but they're really souls.
Blood echoes. If you can only see my finger quotes right now.
Yeah, so you can see a little bit of this stuff here. One knock I have against this game is the Covenant system. I just did air quotes. Yeah. These are the 3 covenants of the game, and you don't get this stuff until seriously the end. and it's just, you'll have to wiki it, because to explain it will take up all the rest of the time that we have, but it's just not as intricate, not as interesting. Yeah, so it's going to be, it's just an interesting setup. So what do you think, Aaron? Should we show this off?
Yeah, let's jump into some Chalice dungeons here. So I was under the original impression that they were all random, but only the root Chalice dungeons are random.
So I've got one set up. I already went through one layer.
Is this a root one?
I don't think it's a root one. I didn't actually look as soon as I pressed the button. I think this is a set one. Oh, that's right. It is, because remember I killed a certain someone.
Oh,
who should not be named.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do remember, though.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Chalice Dungeons is that there's certain enemies. Actually, there's a lot of enemies you will never encounter in the actual game. This is the only place that you'd ever see them.
Yeah, it was just a little disappointing because there's so much unique content in the Chalice dungeons, but the actual environments themselves are kind of cookie cutter.
Alright, so here we go. We'll just show a little bit of this, and man, I already think that we've explained enough to the people who want to discover this stuff themselves.
Yeah, so I'll explain the objective here.
Yeah.
So there's a boss door he just walked by or is going to walk by, and you have to navigate this kind of dungeon here, and you have to find a lever, and that lever opens up that boss dungeon. And there's a lot of unique content in the Chalice dungeons, as I mentioned before. So right there, that's the boss door.
Yeah.
So he has to go down into the pits there. He can explore, find a lot of cool stuff. He's going to find a lot of materials to make even more.
Oh, look at that.
One of his notes was rated fine.
Mm-hmm. What the hell is that thing?
Yeah, so see, that's an enemy that's unique to the Chalice dungeons. You won't see him anywhere else in the main game. And he is swinging that lantern like it's going out of style.
I still don't know what that does.
Well, he's dead now, so we don't have to worry about that.
The Chalice dungeons can be random, like Aaron was saying, but for the most part, it's not... Oh, man, that was ridiculously dark.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be way more sinister.
Yeah, oh boy. I don't... Oh! That's not good. Let's just get some health back here.
So the reward of each Chalice dungeon is based on the difficulty, and there's 5 tiers of difficulty. And we have a returning friend from from Dark Souls dropping in, literally, figuratively.
So this is actually a really good example of what to expect, because that thing doesn't... just normal physical attacks are garbage against them. See, I did 45, but this other one that I have here, it's arcane infused, and I just ripped him apart.
Yep. Literally did 10 times the amount of damage there.
Okay. So let's see what we've got up ahead here. The Chalice dungeons are pretty easy to kind of figure out where you need to go. You just have to unlock that lever, like Aaron was saying. I don't think it's going to be in here. I don't really need to see what's in there.
Though.
It's a lot of rats.
Might be up that ladder to the left.
Fortunately, the stake driver's really good at clearing. Little AoE action. Alright, so we could go in that way. You know what? I think it's over here.
I want to say the position of the lever is never the same. Well, not never the same, but there's a certain set amount of places it can be. I'm not too sure on the randomness or what's randomized. They felt the same every time I've gone through. I wasn't really high on the Chalice dungeons. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and I'm probably going to go through all of them.
Here we go.
Just to experience everything in the game, because it irks me knowing there's bosses I haven't fought, and that's a lot of the appeal of this game, is saying, yeah, I remember fighting this boss and letting a boss go under my nose. I don't typically like that. So we got the lever here.
There we are.
So he could choose to keep exploring. That was a butt.
That was
by
a
the
butt.
way. That was a big white pasty butt.
The Chalice dungeons give you ritual rewards, so you can do other Chalice dungeons. There's unique items, weapons, things like that you can get from here. But this is the reason why you play this game after the fact. You could still go through New Game Plus and such. I thought Dark Souls 2 did a better job at it, since things change. Enemy patterns, just the enemies that you actually fight. There's no like weapon ascension or anything like that in this game. I still really, really like it, Aaron, but I am really missing on some of that stuff.
Wow, you found the treasure room.
I did, by accident.
I miss that stuff too, but this is a lot more of a focused experience, and I can understand why that stuff might have gotten put into the side.
It's kind of a cool break, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go and check out what this boss is. So, to sort of wrap things up here, just before I fight this boss, I really like Bloodborne. I think overall, as you put it, it's a tight, focused experience. I do think that there's a few things that they could have done a little bit better. Did it come out prematurely? Maybe a little bit, but if this is premature, then it's a hell of an experience. And I can't imagine what it would have been like if they just waited a little bit longer. Even still,
Yeah.
I can't complain too much.
It's hard to judge this game so harshly against Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2
All right,
because it's such a great game on its own, and it's better than anything else probably that's come out this year. It's hard to just hold it to Dark Souls 2 and say, well, it's not Dark Souls 2, because it's a new experience, it's a fresh experience, it's a new brand, and I recommend it. I love this game.
Yep, I think it's great. The co-op is pretty easy to get into. It's convoluted, but hey, that's what we've come to expect from games like this.
I would say the co-op is the least convoluted it has been in any Souls-type game.
Yeah, I think that Dark Souls 2 did a good job, but I do believe that this is a bit better. All right.
So I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen when you open these doors. I'm not 80% sure what's going to happen.
Oh, it's an undead giant. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so this guy is actually not that difficult. But,
Well,
that's right.
Make sure you don't eat your words.
There we go. We should say, though, that the New Game Plus stuff, it doesn't scale with these Chalice dungeons.
Yeah, so I had an easy time getting into the Chalice dungeons, and it took about...
Whoa.
It took a little while to make me eat my words. What difficulty level is this? This is 3, right?
I think it is depth 3, yeah.
Yeah, if it was death 1, he would be dead already.
Yeah, if he existed. Oh, man! Yeah, so I got attacked. I got attacked while I was attacking. So kind of like how you're moving just straight ahead, you actually take extra damage during the whole thing.
Yeah, you got knocked on your ass pretty hard there.
But you saw me doing a ton of damage to this guy. It's a perfect example of I can trash that guy, but because I was just wailing away and really maybe not paying attention as much as I should have, I got killed. So, Aaron, let's just wrap it up here. I don't want to ruin any more of the experience for people who are interested. This game is fantastic. I give it my full recommendation, including our seal of approval.
I give it my full recommendation, seal of approval as well.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. This is our review for Bloodborne, and we are Quest Side Story.